Rama said, Lord, by listening to your words of wisdom, the world which appears to be outside has lost its substantiality and my mind has ceased. The world which appears to be outside. If it's not outside, where is it? Well, it's right here. I rest in supreme peace. I perceive the world as it is, as the infinite consciousness infinitely displayed before me. All my doubts have been dispelled. I am free from attraction and resistance. I am established in nature. I am well. And I am happy. I am Ram, in whom the worlds find their refuge. Salutations to me. Salutations to you. The salutations is acknowledging the situation. The mental conditioning has vanished. The mind has come to an end. I see the self as the all in all. When I think of the past, I smile at the foolish ideas of duality I used to entertain. All this thanks to the effect of your nectarine words of spiritual counsel. While still living in this world, I am also in the world of light. Thanks to the rays of light that emanate from your illumined heart, in the words of supreme wisdom, I am immersed in supreme bliss, here and now. Vasishta continued, O Ram, you are dear to me, hence I declare the truth to you once again. Listen attentively. Listen, though for doing so you have to assume the existence of diversity. Your consciousness will expand, and the truth that I shall expand will save from sorrow even they who are not fully awakened. So words are being used here. Words imply duality. The words are being used not to convey ideas, not to bolster up some kind of philosophical system or some other kind of system of ideas or notions. The words hopefully are being used not only to dismantle the notions which we're so attached to, but also to direct our awareness back on itself. The word perversion is often used. This perversion refers to the fact that our attention is constantly being turned away from itself. But we need to turn it back. When one is ignorant, one entertains the wrong notion that the body is the self. His own senses prove to be his worst enemies. On the other hand, he who is endowed with self-knowledge and knows the truth enjoys the friendship of his senses, which are pleased and contented. They do not destroy him. He who has nothing but disgust for the physical body and its functions does not surely indulge it and thus invite suffering. Disgust for the physical body. I think it's better to understand this for a total aversion to any notion of identifying with the body. So it's not disgust in the sense that we find it disgusting, but what we want to realize is how idiotic it is to identify with the body, to think that the body is somehow our be-all and end-all. The self is not affected by the body, nor is the body in any way related to the self. They are like light and darkness. I think we've got this yogic thing coming in here again, haven't we? This yogic tendency to want to transcend the body or master it completely. It sees the body as the enemy. So we need to be careful about that. It's notions of the body we want to transcend. The body itself is just the body. We don't need to get obsessed about it. They are like light and darkness. The self which transcends all modifications and perversions neither comes into being nor does it vanish. Whatever happens, happens to this body which is inert, ignorant, insentient, finite, perishable, and ungrateful. Let it happen. But how can this body ever comprehend, through the senses or the mind, the eternal consciousness? For when either is seen as the reality, the other ceases to be. That's a good point. If you identify with the body, you're completely overlooking your own awareness and the nature of your own awareness. But when you realize the nature of your own awareness, the notional nature of the body becomes apparent. When thus their nature is totally different, how can their experience of pain and pleasure be the same? When they do not and cannot have any relationship whatsoever, how can they exist together? When either arises, the other ceases, even as when the day dawns, the darkness of night ceases to be. Self-knowledge can never become self-ignorance, even as the shadow can never become hot. Brahman, which is the reality, can never become unreal, even when one is aware of diversity. Brahman can be forgotten, though, when your attention is caught up in diversity. Brahman is forgotten. And when the attention is once more with Brahman, then the illusory nature of diversity is realized. Nor can the body ever acquire the nature of the infinite consciousness. Though the self is omnipresent, it is unaffected by the body, even as the lotus is not affected by water. Although it should be said, though, that realization of Brahman can be affected by what's going on in the body. If you're in a great deal of pain, for example, then the attention is going to be directed to that pain. And it can be very difficult for it to be directed once more to Brahman. Brahman's not affected by it. If you can succeed in turning from the pain to Brahman, then Brahman is still there, still here. So we must be careful not to get the wrong idea here. We must be careful not to get unhelpful ideas here. Hence, even as space is not affected by the movement of air within it, this infinite self is not affected by conditions known as old age, death, pleasure and pain, existence and non-existence, which pertain to the body. Even though all these bodies are seen by deluded understanding, they are all in the infinite consciousness alone, even as waves appear on the ocean. The diversity and the perversity of the appearances belong to the reflecting medium. The truth of the infinite self is not affected by all this, even as the sun is not affected by the diversity and the agitation that its reflection undergoes in several mirrors or other reflecting media. When the truth concerning the self is thus seen, the notion of self-ignorance vanishes instantly.